So yeah,
speaking of sharing.
James, man, nah.
But so I was watching the news.
Mm-hmm.
And had a press conference. Now you know the reporter's gonna be drilling pretty much everything. But
someone get tased?
Wait, what was it? The grown-ups where the kids that squirrel putting that it's killing them. But here's the issue. The dude, the one of the speakers there, he I don't know if this was a good point or not, but he said that you shouldn't be trying to attack on agencies because that's what they're supposed to be doing to defend themselves.
Yeah.
But at the same time, okay, the guy who they so-called killed, they said he shot him 11. They said the agent shot him 11 times. So
was he armed?
He was armed, but he was licensed to carry. But he didn't do. There was no weapons on him. They just saw that he had a gun.
Here's the problem. It doesn't matter. You got to remember, when it comes to any type of like U.S. protection in particular, military, CIA, ICE, FBI, Secret Service, amongst others that we ain't even gonna talk about.
Yeah, basically the alphabet names.
Yes. They are to protect first. If you impede on their safety or the safety of others,
primarily theirs,
yes, they're going to start putting people down, and they don't have to say a reason why. Because again, it's under protection. Now it gets tricky because there is rules. So there's rules of engagement. But one of the things was, if you're holding a gun and it's just a threat.
How many times you hear them say this? I was afraid for my life.
Yeah.
Yep.
They say that all the time.
You want to know why? Because at any point in time, they could be. And it could be dead on, afraid for their life. And when they are afraid for their life, guess what's going to happen? They're going to get some people out of the way. Because that's normal protocol for them.
Yeah. I mean, I get that, but does it have to take for you shooting guy 11 times? I mean...
Now, is it excessive? Yeah, but if they're afraid for their life, they can always say...
So, how does this even go down to begin with? Do we know?
Apparently, he was, I think the guy he works for, hospital, something, and, ISIS, they intended something legal, and I guess he just, got involved or something like that. I didn't get full details on the story, but that's basically what happened.
So this had nothing to do with
it. Basically not.
So, but he insured himself.
Yeah.
Yep.
And got killed for it.
But that's how a lot of people do. Remember, I think it was like a week ago, where that lady got snatched all up out of her car, and she was like, well, I'm disabled, I'm this, I'm that. But she was purposely like, just stopped her car, and the ICE team told her, just go, drive, and she didn't want to drive. So she was basically impeding traffic just to save up. She was trying to protest.
Isn't that insane?
Of course it is. But see, people don't want to see their fault in this. Everybody just want to say that, well, they see the ICE snatching out of the car. What they're not seeing is that the lady was told to go multiple times.
Well, here's the thing, too. You hear this all the time. ICE, police, or whatever. Is why didn't we de-escalate? It's very hard to de-escalate when firearms are involved.
Yep. Even when they're not involved.
I don't think people understand how difficult it is to really de-escalate a tense situation. Because one has ever seen someone who's never calmed down ever worked.
Right, especially with a mob of people who are so happen to be angry at the same time because people are shooting.
Now, I'm not saying that one should also escalate, but escalation is a very natural following of high tense situations. Because, let's face it, very rarely do things de-escalate. The only way to, ironically enough, de-escalate is to use force.
Right, and that is a form of de-escalation. That people don't understand that.
Now, here goes $1 million question.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think Donald Trump will stand at the agents?
Of course.
Yeah, those are his people.
Of course Trump's going to stand at the agents.
He's the one who made them.
He's the one who's giving the call from the top.
Now, here's the real question. besides what everything the news is saying, as what we've seen, is it more of a net positive now that these guys are involved? Because I saw recently that there was this press conference with, our Master in Chief President. And he's talking, and basically crime in Washington, D.C. is way down. Crime in Chicago is way down. Basically, deploying ICE in the National Guard has, shockingly, not surprisingly, dropped crime rates greatly. Deporting illegals is net positive for most cities. Basically, we're just seeing benefit from this in a lot of ways. But however, there are a lot of stories pointing out the more barbaric sides that we see with ICE manhandling certain people, or people being shot, killed, and all these things. But conveniently enough, a lot of them are ignoring the net positives. This isn't just like, okay, well, Donald Trump deployed stormtroopers. No.
Did kind of, but
well, no.
ICE stormtroopers. Make connections.
My point being is that there are positive things coming from this. I think it's unfortunate that people are getting killed. That can be avoided, but at the same time, like I said, it's really, really hard to de-escalate a situation, especially when it involves things like this. Especially when it involves ICE, when there's a narrative being pushed right now that ICE is the enemy. You are to hate ICE, whatnot. Because, for the longest time, remember, everybody hated cops.
Right.
And now it's like everybody hates ICE. Apparently people don't like 3-letter words.
First of all, funny. Secondly, you're not wrong.
But it's just like, okay, ICE is now quote unquote bad guys. I wouldn't go so far to call them good guys, but I would certainly say that they're our guys. They're working for the United States government. Take that as you will.
No, because I think you have a very good correlation. Before ICE was involved, people were saying about the cops. Cops are all bad. Cops are putting us down. And what were the cops doing that ICE is doing? They're fighting the exact same battle. That's what people don't understand. ICE and cops were fighting the exact same battle. They're just fighting on a slightly different spectrum per se. But it's the same battle.
Oh yeah, arguably cops are more for citizens and ICE is more for illegals.
Yes. It's still the same battle.
Exactly.
Because who you getting off? The same thing.
I haven't looked at this. I mean, does ICE have to read illegal immigrants' Miranda rights? Do they have Miranda rights?
I would assume they would. But you can't just say,
nope. No, not for reading Miranda rights. Miranda rights is for citizens. And if you're considered not, you get a snatch for blood.
Now, obviously, that doesn't mean that they can just, beat them in the street.
Nope. But here's the thing. If we're in another country,
you do.
What would happen to you if you're in another country?
What was that one basketball player chick?
The
one that we traded a warlord for?
Brittany Grant. Like 10-5 seconds.
Yeah, isn't that exactly what we're talking about here? In the sense
that
if you go to another country, school around, and they throw your ass right in the clinic without thought or question.
That's what I'm finding out. And the only reason why they threw her in the clinic and it wasn't worse is because she had to level and they knew they could use that weapon.
So here's the real question. Why is it that when other countries, use their right of, school around and find out, nobody says anything, but when the U.S. does it, everybody got something to say.
Because everybody thinks the U.S. is soft.
But it's not.
No. Because the reason why they don't think it's soft, because we haven't got to the point of enforcing yet. When we get to the point of enforcing, then all of a sudden U.S., we're not soft with what the doctor wants.
So what, is it just kind of like what boy cries wolf, except the wolf is the police?
Right. But here's the thing. But see, here's the problem I don't understand. So, police and ICE are at odds with each other. Okay. And they're not at odds because of the what. They're at odds because somebody wants to get credit. So saying credit, so now they want to try to go against the thing. Because cops didn't get credit. Because cops were the ones been fighting this battle for years. But instead of it being in regards to ICE and that side, it was we're fighting the game out which is basically one and the same because you're going after the same people.
So this is kind of like a three-way quote-unquote war between the different police divisions. Basically, you have ICE, you have cops, you have the DEA, you have the FBI, you have CIA.
It's a battle of
How often do you think they actively sabotage them?
Well, cops are trying to, but they're really not. We're kind of standing back and letting them do all the heavy lifting.
Here's a question. He probably already had started already, but I want to get you guys take on this. You think the cartel is going to face ISIS?
I think they're trying to. In small degree. So obviously everybody by this point knows about the Venezuela invasion and rapid takeover. Naturally, this is going to be a war on cartels.
Of course it is.
Because I think, as one would say, the cartels got some big corporations. Once you start cutting into government money, the government's going to come after you. I'm not going to lie and say that this is really about truth, justice, and way. No, it's more about you're cutting into our money. That's the problem. We're going to remind you why you don't do that.
True.
Like I said, I would never call the United States a good guy, but I would certainly call them our guys.
Yeah, they're not. It's not good versus bad.
No, it's very red versus blue. Take that as you will.
Yeah. It is. So it is a battle, but
now don't get me wrong. The cartels are horrific criminals. They've done horrific things, and they are worthy of the wrath that is falling on them.
But you want to know why? Because we allow it to be.
So that's what I'm saying too. A lot of these things don't happen by accident. It's bribery, the thing, corruption, things that exist, things that get this big, didn't get this big on their merit alone. They have help from the inside.
Resources.
I mean, you guys remember that before the war in the Middle East was our allies. Armed them, trained them, did all that. And then the big kerfuffle happened.
No, it wasn't a kerfuffle. It was a battle over resources.
That's what I mean.
We needed oil. They didn't want to give it up. We said we'll go get it.
Well, I know the same thing here now. I would not be surprised if the government, FBI, whatever, worked with the cartel to some degree, right? Probably for local destabilization of the government or something. Obviously, I have no proof of that. I'm not going to this. I'm just saying, it seems like this wouldn't surprise me. Let's face it, the government's going to do shady things. It's the government.
It's real simple. So, there is no way. We don't have enough land or resources to grow cocaine, amongst others, in homes and get that much out on the U.S. turf. There's no way possible. You have to get it from someplace. It has to come in.
Yeah.
You can't, and here's the thing, you can't, and ain't nobody stupid enough to say that, well, we can't stop it. We can stop a lot of it if we wanted to. A lot of it just don't just nothing. They're not that, I mean, people think that it's so sophisticated of operation. They're not that sophisticated. There's enough military and support to knock off any underground trail, anything, so they can knock off anybody they want to. The only difference is they're just choosing to start to do it now.
If the U.S. wanted to, they could stop them out in less than a year.
Right. It doesn't have to be an atlas. Here's what they don't know. They don't want to be fighting a whole bunch of separate battles, like small battle here, small battle there, knowing that there is a couple of big wars that's going to be looming and they know.
So the reason why that they're kind of dragging this conflict out with cartels, they're expecting a real indictment. What do you think that's going to be?
It's private, and they know it.
So when do you think it's going to pop up?
After Trump get out of office.
So at least 2 more years.
Why?
There's money because not money.
Well, what? I don't know if it'll happen, but what do you think Trump shot first?
He's trying to. Why do you think he's moving now?
Because, I mean, isn't he basically turning Venezuela into a massive staging area?
So, he basically turned Venezuela. You see, Venezuela was y'all wanted to play we're just going to debo that whole spot. And the reason why we're going to debo it is because, not because we thought that y'all were like terrible, it's just the dude who was in charge was a terrible dude, and he had control over y'all military, so we had to go over there and debo the whole thing. We want all of it. And tell me we had to do it. We need about 150,000 barrels of that oil. We need a couple of y'all resources. They come off a little bit of your gold. And if I see any of your cartels come on our side of the ground again, it's a problem. Why do they do it there? Because they should make an example of anybody who's a cartel in any of those local areas. So if you can get them, I guarantee you can get anybody else on.
It really is like that scene. My grandmama gave me that oil.
I won. That's really what it was.
It's just like smoking. It's like when he leaves, I'm talking again.
Basically, and think about that. When Trump is out of office, what's going to happen? Everybody going to pop up talking right. Like,
but here's the thing. What's next after all this? I mean, it's just going to be that once he's out of office, that's going to be the end of ISIS.
I doubt it. I don't think they're going to, it's not an off switch. I'm going to get here for a while.
Yeah, it's the end of ISIS. If they decide that they want to, no, I'm good right now. If it's the end of ISIS, if they decide they want to, like, Trump's out of office, the answer is no. Now, depending on who they choose as next president, it could be. Could they really be like, well, we want to get it back to the way that it was. We want to have open borders. You know, they could reverse the whole thing. And that's what they're waiting for. They're waiting for the next person to go in and reverse a lot of these policies and stuff. Because it may look good on paper, but it's going to cause so many problems because you already have a war. And if you start getting more of these sleeper cells in and more of these internal attacks in here that's already on that ground, Trump already know there's going to be an internal fight. What you don't want to have is an internal fight happening, and then somebody like China or Russia or somebody jump into the fight. That's what they don't want. So why are they trying to do all this stuff? They're trying to clear all this stuff out of the way because if they even think about it, if ISIS, the real ISIS, the one that's in the Middle East, if they think about moving, if Russia thinks about moving, if China thinks about moving, if South Korea thinks about moving, and why is it important that they do all this stuff now? It's a very important thing, and it affects us directly right here. In a couple of years, we're sitting on two major world events that happen right here in our area where we sit. The Olympics is happening, and the FIFA World Cup is happening. Why is that important? That means people from all the world is going to have a chance to hit U.S. soil right where we are, and if it doesn't go well, this could be the grounds of 9/11. Basically. Because there'll be too much opportunity because you're going to have to be able to fully travel because of these events.
And one would say that if, say, the United States said, okay, we're not doing that here, it would be a sign of weakness.
No, they're going to do it.
No, but I'm saying if they didn't.
Mm-hmm. But why are they doing it?
But so you're kind of, if we didn't have the Olympics,
other nations would call us weak.
I don't think they'll call it weak. I just think that they'll just call it being predictable. Because they know what probably what will happen. If something de-escalates, and then if it's on our soil, we're going to have to ask a lot of questions.
Do you think the next war is going to be a real knockout drag out?
They're going to try to make it big, but I think it's going to be more, it's going to be more cyber than anything else, and then it's going to turn into a regular. But it's going to be literally on, I guarantee you, because stuff like this happens, it can literally be on soil, and it can literally be where we are in LA area. See, they already picked off New York. They caught us slipping, they picked off New York.
You know about 9/11?
Yes. They caught us slipping. Let's just call it what it was, and it didn't take a lot of manpower or resources, and they knew they could do it.
The sad thing is, they knew if they were here, they just didn't do it.
Yep. They picked us off.
until it escalated. It's sad to see.
And then he went over and had to smack him around for doing that. But if you're battling cartels in LA, if you're battling ISIS, you know, if South Korea decides to want to, South Korea soda, North Korea decides to want to go to the World Cup or anything like that, on it, participating here on soil, and not everybody getting along, it's a problem. Because it may not be the ones that you may think are popping off, it's the ones that you're even thinking about right now, who may think that they want to get froggy, and because they're on soil, then you get all these bomb threats.
Now here's a question.
See, that's what I'm saying.
A little similar to what we're talking about, not really, but kind of, so I'll say. Mm-hmm. You think if Call of Duty had the cojones, they'd have the next game be ICE versus cartels? You think if they had the stones to do it?
I am going to answer the question, but let me do this real quick. First of all,
well, one of the people.
Hold on. He said first of all.
Why WWE is having an event now in Saudi Arabia? I mean, if we want to get deeper,
I'm gonna get both of y'all. I got both of y'all. Cool.
No, that's a
cool. I got both of y'all. I'm gonna give y'all both. I'm gonna give y'all both the two answers total.
Let him drink.
I got both of y'all.
Which one you taking on first? The Call of Duty?
I'll take the Call of Duty one first, and then I'll take on your wrestling with the Saudi Arabia team. Call of Duty. First and foremost, PVC Podcast Crew. Y'all know how we get down, Paul, Vic, and Cam. Y'all know we outside doing our thing, Mr. Pete, of course. And first of all, shout out to Microsoft. But let's start with Microsoft. I'm gonna answer your question. I need to tell them something first. If y'all don't get y'all trash Call of Duty game together, y'all had 5 years to get this working. Y'all still can't get Call of Duty right. And y'all keep reskinning this game, and y'all think that it was cool. And Microsoft, y'all bought this. This is the whole reason why y'all bought this Activision Blizzard was for the y'all bought this on the strength of that game alone. And since y'all had it in your hands, y'all can't get it right yet. Y'all need to figure it out. Get y'all games together. Even though Fable 3 looks amazing, by the way, I'll give y'all that. And let Oblivion and let the Obsidian team do Fallout New Vegas based upon the TV show. Get that off the way too. Now, back to your Call of Duty. Will they do it? Before, when Activision Blizzard was on their own, the answer would have been yes. You want to know why? Because the team from Sledge and the team from the Sledgehammer team, amongst others, actually all three of them, they had no qualms about putting edgy stories into the Call of Duty series. The only problem is that people didn't really play Call of Duty for the storyline. Yeah. So they start to invest less into the story. But in this past version, the online mechanics were trash, but the storyline was actually pretty decent on this go around. And it wasn't like great, but it was decent. I'll give it to you. But it wasn't buzzed like the last four.
Okay, so here's the question. The reason I'm kind of bringing this up because Battlefield already did something like this, where not a lot of people remember it, but there was some game called Battlefield Hardline, where it was just Battlefield but cops and robbers. Yep. Right. In today's climate,
I'll tell you what.
Yeah, but in today's climate, I can easily see no more Modern Warfare, no more Black Ops. Literally. Well, Call of Duty Borders, whatever, right? But basically, your game has U.S. ICE agents or feds, right, versus cartels. They kind of did this with, I think, Modern Warfare 2? Where you were in Mexico and you were facing cartels and whatnot. That wasn't the same.
But it wasn't any part.
They did that in those regions.
It was part of a bigger story.
Yeah, they did. Ghost of Wildlands.
Yeah, sure did.
Baller game. But I'm just saying, I could see them really making a game about it, right? Where that's the main thing. Easy, and plus it's a serious topic. I mean, people forget, but Call of Duty used to tackle the horrors of war.
That's true.
Best example is War at War, which was obviously based on the real war and Korea War, right? It didn't hide away war. It's a very brutal game. Almost a horror game when you really look around.
But here's why I said they wouldn't do it. And this is going to get your answer. Because it's in Microsoft's hands.
It's soft.
Microsoft is a lot softer than what y'all think. Y'all think that Microsoft is like a big, huge juggernaut. They're very edgy. They're cutting edge. They're willing to take... No. Microsoft don't take chances in them.
Well, no, because like when you look at Microsoft's original run from 2000 to 2015, you had Halo, you had Gears of War, you had Fable, you had Mass Effect. You had these games that could go hard.
Right, but what did they actually do? But think about that. Take Halo. The original Halo, conceptually fantastic. Even in Stick to TV series, but they still kind of messed it up. Conceptually, the game is fantastic. But after 1 and 2, just the story, not the gameplay, none of that, just the story. How did the story go? And really deteriorated over time. Why? Because they stopped taking chances.
Yeah, no, they kind of started following, what's the word? Predictable sci-fi stories. I mean, to me, the greatest defense was, okay, so Halo 4 to me, I really liked Halo 4. I liked the campaign. I thought it was fun. I thought the multiplayer was fun. That was just me. Halo 5, the story for that game was awful because it followed the traditional stuff of AI uprising. You know, it's like, okay, you've seen that a lot of times in the sci-fi before. You know, where AI overthrows the human community. It's a very played out trope. It's very stupid. That was a terrible campaign. Halo Infinite was decent. It sadly went nowhere. The next Halo coming out is another Combat Evolved remaster, or remake, which just goes to show, well, honestly, that's really sad. Because it's like, okay, so they don't know what they're doing anymore. So, okay, we're just gonna literally go back to the first game.
It's too many.
No.
I mean, well, it's not even that. It's like they don't need to make a traditional Halo game anymore. They did it with Halo 3 ODST, where you just play as you play as a random ODST. You don't need to be the Master Chief anymore. Halo's a universe. You can do a lot with that. You can literally make a Halo game from an Elite's point of view, or from the Covenant's point of view. People will eat that up. But they lack creativity, or they lack...
No, they don't take chances. That's my whole game.
I remember that there was this interview, I don't remember where, but there was one of these guys, I think he worked at 343 or something, he was pitching a lot of ideas to Microsoft about Halo games. He said, there was a point where I literally pitched a Helldivers 2-like game where Helldivers came out to Microsoft.
And they told them
no.
Because they didn't know what they don't want to take chances. Here's the only extra that you're going to get from them is the whole gay and lesbian thing. That's what they consider edgy. That's what they consider progressive. And it's stupid. And you want to know why?
You know what?
I don't really like going down the line because it's a fault of theirs because they don't want to hold the line and say, look, let's just come up with a good story that is meaningful, that is edgy, that doesn't necessarily have to tackle that. You've seen too many games tackle that. And Call of Duty is one of those ones that because it's in Microsoft's hands, even though they're making them softer as you go along, and you've seen it in the last 2 iterations. You've seen that, just give them multiplayer. We don't care about the story. We don't care about the story. Now, when you think about the other teams, think about a Valve, we'll go one better, go Starfield. Starfield was supposed to be the next big baby for Bethesda, right?
It was not.
And the reason why it wasn't is because A, I think it took a little bit too long, and B, the game didn't take no chances. They thought that, we're into space, this is the chance. No, the story was trash. That was the problem with the thing. They took no chances in the stuff with the story, though. You could have fixed everything. You could have fixed the gun mechanics. You could have fixed the planet layout. You could have fixed anything. You want to know why? Because you have every other team at your disposal. How hard is it for the Bethesda team to call the select team, babe, look, can you fix our gun mechanics in Starfield, please? How hard was it for them to be like, for Bethesda to say, yo, I'm finished. You really fix the storyline for us because the storyline's kind of okay, but can y'all fix this for us and make this be a game that's supposed to be? And they didn't. Because Microsoft told them not to.
Now, where are we going further?
Man, I didn't forget about your question. I didn't forget about your question. Don't worry.
Well, that's that, people, about Microsoft. Why do they think suck? Because they
don't take no chance. To address your wrestling.
Let's go gambling.
No. To address the wrestling part. So people who don't know, wrestling is WWE in particular is ran by a bigger group called I think it's TKO is the group that runs them, and they are a group that's ran in Saudi Arabia among some other wrestlers. Mainly the Saudi Arabian team, that's the one who runs it. Because WWE needed money because of the whole Vince McMahon issue. They needed money. And they needed a new face to kind of run the show. But instead of handing it off to the kids, because they didn't think the kids would be enough to face, the investors needed more investment. They couldn't go no further. They couldn't get a better TV deal. They couldn't get an ESPN deal because there wasn't enough TV. So they had to go to TKO. The same TKO that the UFC had to deal with for periods before they broke. So because they did that allowed them to get enough juice, enough money, to say they're like, well, if this team is helping us funding and like this project, let's get more of a spectacle. But here's the trade-off. When TBL said, oh, if you want our money, here's the answer to it. To get our money and our finance and all that stuff, you're going to have to do something for us. You're going to have to do more shows in the Middle East. You're going to do more shows on European soils. But keep in mind, wrestling, the WWE in particular, in their quest to be global, is still an American brand. But here's the problem when you take American brands overseas now. People really don't like Americans overseas like that right now. They don't like us. This is why all of a sudden traveling is going to become real tricky. It's becoming tricky now. It's going to become more tricky in the next few years because they really don't like us going over there. So you going to Italy or Germany or the UAE or Saudi Arabia or Iran, wherever you got to go over there, it's risky. Because if you don't go over there and if you don't play exactly by their rules, and even if you did, if they decide that when some of y'all ain't coming home, it's going to be very hard to get the boys and girls up out of there. That's why. But see, the problem is, it was a money call. Opposite of Microsoft. Microsoft wasn't a money decision. The reason why that they're not putting out good content, it's a literal, I don't want to rock the boat and I don't want to take no chances because I don't want to be controversial. The WWE is on the opposite end. We'll do whatever we need to do in order to be relevant again and be the top promotion. So we'll take the show to Saudi Arabia. We'll do 2 WrestleManias. Why do you need 2 WrestleManias? There's no reason why you need 2 WrestleManias. So let's get this talk. You have a PLE literally every month, I think minus October. I think it's only one. I'm going to take it back. October is the only War Games around that time. So they only have November. So October is the one that they don't have. I know October they skip because of War Games. So it's almost like 1 month throughout the year where it's not like a major PLE. You're making enough money. You have the TV. But see, you took all this extra money because you wanted to kind of globalize the brand. But by you trying to globalize, you diminish the brand a lot. See, they were making, WWE was making good strides when they, put NXT on. NXT was crazy because they said, look, we're going to get some of our young upstart kids to do it. But here's how smart that was. They got the people in NXT were so good in the training grounds that they had to give them their own little shop. So now the training grounds is, what's that show that's on TV? Evolve. So now that becomes a training ground. NXT is basically basically part of the three-ring connection. So they actually grew
like
just
from
in
6th grade, 7th grade.
yeah, so now they have a literal progression system that they built from the ground up. Now that was innovative on the WWE stuff. The problem is that if you're greedy for money, greed for money will cause you to do stupid things, and that's what happened to the WWE. The greed is going to be the ultimate thing for the leader now.
So let me ask this question. Do you think the more you generalize, the less you become aware? The more generalized something is, the less appealing it is.
Like PG-13 movies.
To a degree, yes. Oh, and also, and you're down. And yes, the answer to that is yes. And you know what the other thing is? And I'm gonna be honest with you, and it just hit me too. The WWE is not much different than Microsoft, and I said that they weren't, but I'm gonna take it back. They're not much different. So, as a wrestling fan, Paul, what was the best era of wrestling? Why was it the best era of wrestling?
Because we had two brands fighting over the same thing. Monday Night Wars, and then for the adversary, the elders who had top guys, Stone Cold, the Rock, the Triple H, the Mick Foley, the Undertaker, the Outlaw, particularly that part of that era, it benefited the whole because it only ran by
No.
well,
you're missing half of it. I'm like, okay, now I'm gonna help.
Go for it.
What made Stone Cold Stone Cold? No. What made Stone Cold Stone Cold? What made him?
His personality.
His personality. What did he always do?
Drink beers, finger gesturing.
What made Undertaker the Undertaker?
His dead man gimmick.
What made The Rock the Rock? His mic skills and all that stuff. What made Cena Cena?
His mic skills.
No.
His rap.
The image. Look at all these things. So the reason why I say that, The Undertaker on his own was controversial. Dead man walking, all that stuff. Why? Stone Cold controversial. Why? Because he was the dude who was like the country boy, slacking beers around, drinking beers, hanging out, goes against the authority, right? John Cena. He was the cool cut, clean cut boy, but when he went to Thugonomics, it was, but what do I mean by that? I'm just using an example. I didn't even talk about Eddie Guerrero, the wrestling Eddie Guerrero, all those people who was there, all of them were edgy. They pushed the boundaries. Think about the girls. Think about Trish Stratus and all them and how crazy they were. They were doing outlandish stuff. Yeah, but keep you glued to the TV. That's what made them want to know why? Because they took chances. They took so many risks. Undertaker was a risk. To be on TV. And to be walking like that, man, Stone Cold was a major risk. You drink on TV, your kids watching. It was a risk. Yeah, middle finger, DX, suck it. No, I'm not trying to be funny. I'm just telling you, they took so many chances. And every single chance paid off, even to the point where they really against the Now I can't be saying something in school. You know, it was bad.
I remember that.
It was so bad. You know, Trish Stratus
in a speech.
Trish Stratus was your typical Barbie doll sex pot. China was like the big girl. She would have been out of there. China was basically Xena Warrior Princess sitting in front of you when they had the Xena Warrior Princess show going at the same time. They should have casted China. And she literally looked like Xena Warrior Princess. That's the type of chances that the WWE took during that time. What are they not doing now? They're not taking chances. Don't get it wrong. This is not a knock to where they are now. But most of the characters that are on the WWE currently as it stands aren't edgy. They're very plain cookie cutter. They're very talented. They're athletically great, but they have no personality. You know what makes nobody? Real quick, you know why Trick Williams is getting a lot of buzz right now? Because of the stinking intro. Whoop that trick, get him.
Would you say it's sanitary?
Yes. Yes.
Why do you say it's hard for me to swallow? Because I lived the rest of the training. So then I know, guys who didn't make it to the top of the things, guys still wrestling now for a living. And, working out at gymnasiums, schools. I just went last month to help my Wonder Boy store on his own video in the alley. So yeah.
Now you said
it is sanitized at the top.
Would you say that when you lose the edge, you lose the form?
Yep. Because now it's about money. Now you gotta.
Which is the worst thing you could be up.
Because when you're dealing with the money aspect of it, now you're dealing with people who want you to act a certain way, be a certain way. So now it's corporate. Corporate code. Because you're going to get that pretty quick, right? Seth Rollins, all them. None of them are edgy. The edgiest thing about WWE right now is who? Maybe the Wyatt Six, and they're not even on TV enough to really make that a but they're not edgy, really. Jey Uso's not edgy. He's like a catchphrase. He's not edgy. He's actually clean cut. Like Cena, clean cut. Why do they have to change Cena's persona? They literally had to change his persona mid-flight because they had to make him clean cut. And it was the right call to do because you have to be clean cut. Promoting him as clean cut persona because you can't have him be the bad guy who's going out. Versus if you were actually somebody who was a bad guy going in, who was the I just saw the interview. Who was the old boy who played the pimp? Yeah, Doc. I couldn't get it yet. So even if he was selling, he had to reinvent himself because he was just in essence, a jobber. He was the one taking the bumps for The Rock and Stone Cold, but he said, I have to reinvent myself just to make myself relevant. It was his wife who told him, no, why don't you just show your personality and get pimp? And then Vince crazy brother like, we're gonna bring some girls along with you to make you look like a spec. And you know how edgy that was? To go out there and say, I'm a pimp, and I'm throwing girls, he throwing girls like Undertaker, throwing girls, and you remember, Undertaker at the time was just getting his life on with God, and he met into bed, and he got his girls thrown in his face. It was crazy. But this was the type of
trying to break character.
No, but these were the type of chances they were taking. Now, it wasn't them in real life, it was just their character, but that's how much they were characters for people to relate to it.
Yeah, okay, thinking that you don't say characters so quick when it's work.
So back to your gaming question. What game have you seen as of late that took chances and became successful?
Probably, go ahead and play it. I would have to say probably Expedition 33. But that was, I think, an indie game.
Still. But you can't, right?
Yeah. Expedition 33. That's funny.
I'll give you one more, and that'll be Baldur's Gate 3.
Oh yeah.
And I'll give you, and I maybe will give you, well, Elden Ring didn't take me long. They kind of like just jumped on that. So,
Elden Ring Night Rain or whatever it's called.
Yeah, that was kind of cool.
Basically, it was basically Elden Ring multiplayer.
Right.
So it was really dope.
I would say like Bellato took a lot of chances. Slay the Spire took some chances. I'm just giving you a couple of games, just in recent memory. But what do they all have in common? They didn't have nobody corporate throwing them a huge bag and says, well, I need to make the game and be this way. Here's what's going to happen with some of these games as they go along. Now that they are known, especially like somebody like Larry, where they're like the golden kids of the gaming company right now, somebody's going to throw them a bag, like a huge bag, and say, I need you to give us another. But I need you to do it a particular way. And that's going to be the ultimate downfall of Larry. Don't get me wrong. It happens to every major game company. Think of the good ones.
Well, yeah,
and think of the downfall.
What used to be my favorite was Respawn. They were phenomenal. They were my favorite for a very short time. But they got bought out by EA. And then they just kind of...
And what happened with them?
They fell off.
Right.
Hey, don't get me wrong. Apex Legends was fine in the beginning, but then they milked it to hell, and now it's just kind of tapered off. It's just there. Nobody really cares about it.
Right.
People still play it, but it's not what it used to be.
It's because
it's there. Yeah. And they haven't really done anything with it.
Right.
They don't advertise it no more. I don't even hear people saying.
No, but if you look at their YouTube channel, their older videos used to do millions when they drop like new season. Now it's like under 1 million almost every time.
Right. Because like I said, EA got their hands on it.
And real quick, you know what's coming out tomorrow that nobody's really talking about? So at the Game Awards, there was a new game revealed at the end of the game show called High Guard, right? And it was advertised as from the people who made Apex Legends and Titanfall, right? And it comes out tomorrow.
First of all, I didn't watch the Game Awards, so
I don't blame you. It was nothing great.
Yeah.
But
I know why you didn't watch it.
Well, anyway, so High Guard comes out tomorrow, and there's this big old speculation that it's probably going to be DOA, Dead on Arrival. Because it looks like another hero shooter in a very generic sci-fi fantasy setting where none of the characters are little popping or anything. If anything, it looks kind of like metrosexual in the sense of it's way too clean. And,
So you know the other game that was considered, even though it was an okay, it's maybe above okay.
Are you about to say Concord?
No. Stellar Blade. It's the other game that can't come to mind.
Stellar Blade is phenomenal.
It did do phenomenal. But why was it?
Because sexy anime woman.
Because it took a chance.
On a sexy anime.
I know, but it's still a chance.
Oh.
I'm not saying it's the right. I'm not saying it's the right.
I didn't play it either, but
no. I'm not saying it's the right premise.
If you look at the gameplay, you'll see exactly why so many people liked it. It was because of the main character.
Okay.
Yeah, because I'm gonna be honest with you. I'm just gonna keep it strong with y'all. The reason why that was important is because you had so many female leads that they tried to strip the sexiness part away. And it doesn't work. Because you gotta remember, it's 85% guys who still play games. And you want your character builds to be, you want your guys to really look like guys, and you want your girls to really look like girls. What do I mean by that? You want your guys to be more like the guys from Gears of War. Exactly.
Who would not want Gears of War muscles?
Right, I'm just saying, you want them to be that, strong, gunplay, that stuff. But what do you want your girls?
Biceps bigger than
But you want your girls to be at least visually appealing. Now, it doesn't mean that you gotta get your jollies off because of that. But what I'm saying is that you don't want them to be like bob cut and all that. So you don't want that either.
There's a difference between over-sexualized and visually appealing. There is a difference. And it's called taste.
Exactly.
Right. You can do something tastefully. You can make people attractive tastefully. If you're relying purely on sex appeal, that's called tasteless. Right? Where all they do is they look skimpy.
Right, but so there's a way to do sex appeal and not be in skimpy clothing too.
Yes.
There is a way to do that, but see, the problem is that most people don't know where that line is. That line has been so blurred.
Teaching my make play more character.
No, but see that's the problem. See, people's problem is that they want their characters to be like a Playboy girl.
Well,
like, just overly everything. Nobody says it has to be that, but nobody says it needs to be like little thin, bob rails, no nothing, bob shortcut. No, it don't have to be that either.
Like create your own character.
But see, that's the thing. Even, you play WWE 25, you just look at people's character designs.
Yeah.
Look at the female ones that they create. Just take those. What does it really look like? It's outrageous. Some of the stuff. I hope y'all gonna get me cussing. Lord, I ain't trying to do it. It's outrageous. Some of the character designs that some of these people are doing. It's ridiculous. But see, they're going way over the line. But there is a line in which you can make a girl sexy, but not being over sexualized. There is a line. Most people just don't know what that line is.
It's a thin line between love and hate.
No, it's a...
Well, yeah, like if you're relying purely on visual stimulation to get your story, get your game thought, that's called being shallow, right?
But they know they're going to sell numbers.
Well, I know, but it's basically the Playboy ideology,
yep.
Right? I mean, you have people who've said it before, where they bought Playboy to read the articles. That's a lie.
That's a lie.
They bought the. Of course. I mean, there's this. Come on now.
I'm a storyteller. Come on, really.
Because there's gonna be one good article in that mug, max. It ain't no good and well done.
That's what I'm saying.
I'm gonna tell you right now. If you buy Playboy, if you bought Playboy magazine, why was the Playboy in the bathroom and not on the table with all the other magazines that you? If you didn't have your Playboy next to your Sports Illustrated, your Gears, and your auto car truck magazine, your Gear Report. Yeah, but even the Ebony magazine. What was the Ebony magazine? The Ebony magazine went on the Ebony and the Jet was never on the table. You know where were they? They were in the little rack, the bathroom in the rack. That's what. Come on now. I mean, what are we doing here? I know you may not know what Ebony and Jet is, but
unfortunately I do.
but I'm just saying. What am I saying is that if you couldn't put it on the table,
it's called shame.
Exactly. It's the reason why that you have to put some of those magazines and put covers behind them. Remember when Walmart still does magazines, but when they had the big magazine rack. And they had the game magazines and stuff, but they had to put all the other, like the Maxims and all that stuff.
I will say this as a reminder. You can hide from man, but you can never hide what you get God.
That's a fact.
Right. You can put that magazine under deer hunting today. He's still gonna know.
Playboy.
Because you already bought it.
Yeah, the only thing you can do is get rid of it.
You already bought it.
But that's a whole different conversation.
For a different part of the day.
Do we have time still? Because
sure, we got a little time for it.
It's 3:52. Remember when we were at work and we were talking about the marriage thing?
Yep.
Yeah, we'll go about that a little bit. We'll use that as our closing conversation.
Let's go with it.
Okay, so I was talking with Cam at work, right? And one of the things in the Bible is that typically speaking, a pastor is a married man, right? It's one of his qualifications, one of the ways you can gauge his qualification for pastorship. How he treats his wife, how he raises kids, things like that. It's a visual showing of his love for his family and therefore his love for God. And I was talking to Cameron about, well, perhaps maybe most, if not all, public servants, councilmen, governors, stuff like that, should be married men. Well, because you can tell who they are, at least generally speaking, through their marriage, through how they treat their wife and they treat their children. Plus, ideally, a married man is no longer to no longer at least hopefully be seduced or corrupted through flesh because of marriage.
True. Keep on.
Basically, what I was saying was like, most positions of power, at least in the government and public sector, like I said, councilmen, governors, mayors, stuff like that. I'm not talking about private sector, CEOs or stuff like that, or those in the army.
But even then, I could make a case.
You could, but I'm just saying, it's like, people in power like that should be married, and they should be judged. They should be judged by the people on how their marriage is doing. Basically, would you want a man in office whose wife is neglected and children don't even know him well? Or would you want a man in office whose wife is purely loved and the children get excited every time they see it?
Well, let's take that point. How many times have you heard about the scandals always been happening where these government officials get caught up in the affairs?
Yeah, still.
Or
that's not the fault of the marriage, that's the fault of the man.
Or you could make the same argument for pastors in church.
Yeah, it's happened very often, so.
More often than not, to be honest with you. Should they? The answer is yes. Does that always
Well, no,
Is it always a qualifier? And this is where it becomes tricky. Is it always a qualifier?
I would say it's less of a qualifier, more of an indicator.
I can give you that.
I hate to say that, but yeah, I can give you that one too. I mean, only because the simple fact of it is, God, I hate to say it, but it happens all the time. You see it all the time. I mean, adultery still gonna be.
It's very common.
It's very common, but is it
horrifically enough?
Is it on just the spouse himself, or is it on both sides?
Well,
because how often people will always say, I am a helping relationship or helping marriage, but sometimes stuff gets thrown off the rail because what their lifestyle is supposed to be, or how they actually are supposed to be outside of that lifestyle. Because sometimes we don't know that they have a regular normal life outside of the social media, outside of the political aspect.
Okay, so let's talk about this real quick. We'll talk about adultery real quick. Because this covers a broad spectrum of positions that people in life. So we'll talk about adultery and affairs real quick. It's never an in-the-moment thing. Typically, affairs happen. Well, first off, affairs happen in the mind, right? First, it's a thought that's entertained, right? Just like all sin. All sin first is born in the mind, or the heart, whatever you want to consider where the thoughts lay. But it starts like that. It's a seed that eventually sprouts and bears rotten fruit. Right. Rotten fruit is the deed being done itself. Yep. This is why not only that prayer is important, not only strong church is important, but why talking to your spouse is very important. Because at the end of the day, you can never look at your wife or your husband and say, well, I did this horrible deed, cheating, because you didn't do something for me. No. The sin...
No, stop. You made that statement right there. Say that one more time, and I'm going to tell you, say that part one more time.
You can never look at your husband or wife and say, I cheated because you did this.
Stop. That's always the conversation. That's always, that part right there is always the conversation. People say that you cannot say that I didn't do something. But see, when it comes down to it, what is the reason, the core reason of why somebody would cheat? The core reason is because they're going to tell you the reason why I cheated is because you didn't do something. It's not the fact that you didn't do something. It's the fact that you didn't do something which caused me to do this. Now, whatever that something is the reason why people will try to justify that action.
So let me ask you a question. If that person did say that whole particular line,
they say it to you all the time.
Yeah, but
they're
right
going to
there,
spin it a different way.
Okay, so that particular, because that's a strong, powerful line. If that person was to tell that to their spouse or anything like that, do you think their spouse will listen to that line?
They should.
Or try to work on that line?
No, so it depends on what the conversation is.
Because it sounds like the person, he or she is telling you the reason why.
They're trying to blame. So the problem is they're trying to blame the other person for an action that they did. So basically what they're trying to do is to offload, this is the reason why. Yeah. So they're trying to free themselves of the guilt, of the shame, of the wrongdoing. So they're basically trying to transfer the bad that they did to make you feel like, well, it's your fault because the answer is, ultimately, it may be something that person may have done or not done.
Okay.
But
your sins are your own.
You still have the knowledge, the discernment, and all that other stuff in between to say that I'm still not going to cheat. I will step away from this whole situation before it becomes an option cheat. But here's the problem. The reason why people won't do that because If they were to do that, that is admitting their own fault. A lot of people don't want to admit their own fault in these situations. They don't want to say that I cheated, it's my bad, this is what they don't want to take ownership of it. They want to offload that ownership because they're saying like, the reason why is because it's something you did. Maybe. But did you tell me?
Yeah, well, I'll say this. This may be a little extreme. Listen, this isn't work. If you can never admit your own faults, you're never going to see the gates of heaven.
Right.
You will never go into heaven if you can never admit your own faults. Because here's the thing. I just said a moment, your sins are your own. You cannot blame anyone or anything else for the evil you do. You cannot blame circumstance. You cannot blame position. You cannot blame people. And you can't even blame the devil or demons. Your sins are your own. No one made you do anything. You did it because you wanted to do it. And if you can't admit that, then you will burn in hell justly forever.
Because you have to make the choice. Like I said, it's based upon the choice. You make that choice. Trust me. When you're in a relationship, I promise you, the one thing you're going to be in front of is a lot of more options. Okay?
You got another one.
You got scared, didn't you?
I love that thing.
You got scared.
Because I'm thinking about the movie Going to
No, you got a lot. So when you're in a relationship, you will understand that your options open up even more. Believe it or not. When you're single, you'll be like, well, I have a few options here. But when you're in a relationship, guess what happens? Yeah. You got more options. You want to know why you got more options?
Because you're seen as desired.
Exactly. Because if one woman desires you, other women thinks that, well,
he must have
what makes him cool? What makes him click? And here's the thing, the other girls may already know what makes you good. They just didn't get the opportunity. But what are they going to do? They're going to hover around and stay in orbit. Now, whose decision is it for you to keep them at arm's length? It is your call to keep them at arm's length. Why? Because you're the one who's in a relationship. You're the one who's in said marriage.
Hold on. What's going on here? Because you didn't on these last couple.
You just scared.
No, I'm not scared.
It's all right.
Is something y'all want to tell me? Because this
ain't nobody doing
this has been a good.
Ain't nobody doing nothing.
This has been a good topic for the last 3 episodes. Because we've been on this.
Because it's still January.
Because we've been on this.
You scared.
It's cool.
Just say,
I'm not scared.
I'm
just want to make sure my boys.
Tell the kids in the back you scared.
Hey, the kids in the background, I'm not scared. I'm just want to, I'm just trying to get clarification over here. Because, this particular topic has been the last week, which is good, but I just want to see why.
No, it's not.
I'll say why real quick, please.
Let's go.
It's still January. We're at the top of the year. Okay. We want people to go forward this year not committing these horrible acts, to remind them of the reality of the situation. This is why we're kind of hammering it so much in January. So you don't mess up the rest of the year. So you don't do something that kind of ruins everything.
You want to be single on February 14th? It's cool. I'll let you do it. I'll let you do it.
On Saturday.
No, I'll let you do it. I know you don't want to spend no money anyway. I'll let you do it.
Because the last...
I'll let you do it. If you don't want to... See, here's the problem. No, silly. No, can I get him? I will let you go in like 5 seconds. See, the problem is, y'all want to do all this foolishness in January, at the top of February. Why? Because you don't want to get to like February 10th and knowing that you got to come out the pockets, tell your girl, I don't really have it. Let me just break up for like 2 weeks. If you don't... And you know, like, you want to get back together on like the 20th.
That's why
let me get that together. That's not how we were like, why didn't you give me no Valentine's Day present? We was broken up at the time. I ain't obligated to you.
It's time to say that.
But there's people who do that stupid stuff. Just on the strength of you just don't want to put out no money or do that. Anyway.
But no.
Go back to where you were. Go.
Yeah, but mostly the reason why we're kind of hammering this is it's still January. It's the first of the year. Okay? And in this day and age, relationships are a major topic. And there's a whole lot of problems going on around. We just want people to know what to do and what not to do, how to go about things. Obviously, we can't tell you what to do. We're not going to tell you how to live. But you sure as heck cannot go forth and say, you didn't know. That's what we can do. That's what we're always going to do. We're going to make sure you go about knowing your guilt. You are not walking away ignorant. You can walk away and do whatever you want, but you're not going to not know what you should and shouldn't do.
No, but goes into the thing of why is it important in leadership? I think was more of the bigger question.
Yeah, that.
So that's more of the bigger issue. And the reason why it's important in leadership is that when you are in a relationship or married, the likelihood of you getting swayed by an outside force or two is less likely.
I mean,
now, there is Bill Clinton.
I hate to say it, but
I just want to give you an example. I mean, there's the Vince McMahons. There's people. I'm just. No. Tiger Woods. Yeah, no. Why am I giving you? Why do we throw these examples out there? Because there's so many examples of even with people who've been married. They chose a wife. Chose a good one, by the way.
50%.
You chose a good wife.
Which you love that's how
you chose a good wife, and then you are still out there because you got so many options, because now you understand that the person who wasn't so desirable is all of a sudden super desirable. That's what almost got Jay-Z done it for. Because when Beyonce chose Jay-Z, his stalking women went up like exponentially. Because you got one of the baddest ones, and now every other baddie want to come out the woodworks to figure out what you got. It wasn't even about money. It was because you had her choose you. And if she chose you, and if she knows that you're good, you basically are solidified in every other woman's mind. Like, okay, I don't care what you look like, you must have something going on for you. That's the problem. But you know what the hardest thing is for anybody, whether you got bread or not? You know why it's harder when you got more bread? Because you got more options.
That's true.
When you got more bread, you got more options. When you got more options, it's harder to shake these ones away, because now you're dealing with a much bigger pool of girls to shake off. Same thing applies to women too. Women, it's the same thing. When a guy chooses you and you become more desirable because you're in a relationship, there's a lot more guys who come out the woodwork who's going to be like, well, what's good with you? And you're going to have to figure out, am I going to stay committed to the marriage and relationship that I'm in? Or am I going to sit up here and try to trick off on the side? And a lot of these women are the ones who decides, well, because I'm getting attention, I'll keep one on the side. I'll keep two on the side. Now you have this thing called I have a roster. I have a roster of guys on the list. That's what a lot of women do. They have now. Now they're not going to tell their dude, their main dude, that they got it, but they got it. Because are you
predicting the Jada Pinkett and Will Smith?
No, because what they're going to do is, if their dude act up, here's what happened. Their dude act up all of a sudden. Well, I'm going to call him anyway. He's going to come pick me up. Why? Because they want to cause the messiness. Because they know they got somebody in tow. Oh, why are you calling him? Well, that means you talk to him for a period of time. Cool, you go ahead and go. Don't worry about it. And sometimes you got to...
Then when there's this shoe on the other foot...
Then when the shoe on the other foot, then they'll be like, well, why are you calling another girl? Same thing. But see, here's the thing. But even as a guy, you're not supposed to have a roster either if you committed to the girl. When you commit to girl, even when you're not married, but you're committed to them in a relationship form, part of that is that you chose her to not be choosing the other ones. Now I gotta clarify something for the kids in the back, and it's super important. There is a difference between dating and being in a relationship. Exclusive.
Yeah.
If you are in a dating situation, that is different, because you're exploring the opportunity to maybe take the one that you're on the date serious enough to be a boyfriend or girlfriend. But just because y'all go on a date, that doesn't mean that you're exclusive. That just means that you're on a date trying to figure out where y'all land. Because there's certain times you can go on a date and figure out that y'all may not be compatible. You let that go. and let's say he's going on multiple dates or she's going on multiple dates, you're dating. You're not exclusive to that person at this point in time. Now, should you be going on multiple dates? I would recommend not because it clouds your judgment. But does it? Yeah, kind of.
Yeah, it's not.
It kind of does. I know people who will go on 2 or 3 dates. I've seen people go on 2 or 3 dates in a day. Yeah, like one of my boys will do it. They'll have a date in the afternoon around like 4, have a dinner set up for 7, and if that dinner at 7 doesn't pan out, he got somebody on deck at 10 to go to the bar with. I'm not trying to be funny. I'm just being honest and actual. And that used to be like college in a nutshell. I'm just being honest with you.
I'm glad you clarified.
But in the same conversation piece, that's still dating. He's still trying to figure out who he's trying to be. But now, when he decided to pick one of them as his girlfriend, for example, he keep going out on dates with the other 2. You have to kick the other 2 to the curb. Why? Because you got to devote your time into the one that you chose to figure out what y'all really got. Mm-hmm. And if it's worth going from the relationship to the engagement to the marriage. And a lot of times when the guys make that choice, like real for real, unless something derails their decision, meaning that the girl cheats or something that happens dramatically within a relationship, they're choosing that girl with the intent of, I want to rock with this girl for a long period of time. They're not choosing her just to throw her on a roster. They're choosing her because they really want to invest into her. But a lot of times in the middle of the relationship, things happen. And that goes back into what we were talking about before, like some of the reasons why people cheat. Sometimes you put yourself in a bad position. You're at the bar, blaming on the liquor. Oh, you have to be people who have a roster. So when you have your roster, it's hard for you to decipher because each one of the people who you're connected to. Yeah. But see, when you have that, guess what happens? When you have people in different spots, guess what happens? They're all going to give you something that you want, but they're all going to have flaws. But if you lock in and say, I'm going to be with this person, you got to cut off the other ones. And I know it's tough because you don't want to do it. You don't want to cut off your options, but sometimes when you're in a relationship, you got to cut off the other options.
Well, here's the thing. I think the problem is the word itself, dating. It sounds too casual. It sounds too flippant, and it sounds too easy to walk away from. But here's the thing, if you're really serious and you're not wasting time, because let's face it, if you're dating for dating's sake, you're just wasting time. Nobody's young forever. You don't want to waste your prime years on flesh that isn't, really gain you anything. It feels good, but memory's still a memory. Mm-hmm. Instead, you probably want to do something called courting. Courting has a very simple thought. It is an interview process until the day of marriage. Right, which means it has a clear goal set in mind. There's a purpose to it. There's a finish line. There's a second chapter. Dating is vague. We're just kind of dating. We're together. You can date for damn near 6 years and nothing really moves forward. Courting, you're kind of planning to get married on the 3rd year if it's really worth it, or even sooner than that. Because if you're serious, then you're gonna take things to the next level. I think the problem is people are afraid, and not just of man, but of the vulnerability that comes with it. Because again, if you're serious, then you're tied together. It's two becoming one. You are no longer independent, which is the idea. You're not meant to be independent in marriage. You're not meant to have separate accounts. You're not meant to have an escape plan because that's already prepping for failure.
But yeah, and I think that's the problem. But 2 things. One, the courting thing. The boyfriend and girlfriend thing is basically courting. They just don't say courting anymore. It's called courting.
It's casual.
Yeah, but it's still just a boyfriend and girlfriend thing. But all that means is that you're exclusively taking on this one person with the intent for it to be into marriage. That's really what boyfriend and girlfriend is. Anybody who says it otherwise is really getting the whole thing wrong. It's really, that is the whole intent. We just took the word courting out of it because courting sounded old school.
Yeah, and they started saying balling.
No, balling was something. Yeah. But that's what boyfriend and girlfriend is. That's all it is. It's just, you got friends, you go from acquaintances to friends to dating from boyfriend and girlfriend, boyfriend and girlfriend from that to that.
Here's the question. What do you think has a better chance of sustainability? A friendship evolving into romance, or 2 strangers who meet up and say, "Hey, let's date. Let's see where this goes." Do you think the history of friendship dampens the romance side?
Oh God.
You went there.
You might want you.
Yeah, I'll give you a little
Talk
taste.
to the mic.
I'll give you a little taste. I'm not gonna give you the whole scenario.
No, I got to, cause he gonna make me go there, so I'm gonna dive into
But
it.
do we have to on that one?
Yeah.
Okay.
I already had some
Alright.
replies, man.
Because I already know that I've been in that situation, and
Here's the problem. I'm with the God, why are you dropping good questions? Okay, so
sometimes, you know what? Go ahead.
no, forget this. We're gonna forget it. So ideally, you want the person who you are in a relationship. Yeah, exactly. You want the person who you are in a relationship with to ultimately be your best friend.
But what if they're already your best?
That's fine. Because all you're doing is involving the relationship but see, the problem is that a lot of people's best friends
Is a dude.
dude. But a girl will try to justify this and say that, well, he is my guy best friend, but I'm not attracted to him.
That's a lie.
Stop. It is a lie, and the reason why we know it's a lie is because people don't keep other people in their circle that they don't have, like if they're of the opposite sex, if they're not physically attracted to them in some sort of capacity or another.
Because
let's be absolutely honest.
And I had to learn that.
Now there are certain people who you may talk to and all that stuff, but when you talk about talking, hanging out, all that stuff, you are not hanging out with people of the opposite sex that you are not physically attracted to in some sort of capacity or another on a regular basis. Let's be honest.
Because I was going to say this too. Look, I genuinely believe and think that if you are dating someone, right? You say guy's dating a girl, she can't have a male best friend. That don't work unless it's her brother. But I mean, same thing with the guy. The guy can't have a girl best friend.
Right, can't.
If you're dating. If you're single, then you can do whatever you want in that regard. But when you're dating someone, especially, you can't have a best friend of the opposite sex because that kind of really complicates things. Because
all they're gonna do is go to that male best friend. That male best friend has been seeing over. Do you wanna know why he's the best friend?
Because he's been waiting to get that call.
He's just waiting for the opportunity to
say, can you come over?
No, it's not even that.
I need to come over.
I think you're really, here's what they're waiting for. I think you're really cool people. We should really explore this opportunity.
This is
I'm just certain guys get stuck in the friend zone.
You get stuck because you're waiting for the opportunity because they know, the girls know, and see, here's the problem with certain girls. Certain girls know that they got these guys there because they love the attention, they love the chance of, if something happens with the dude that they're dating, they have the rebound. They have the person sitting right there, so they go to their male best friend.
Which is a really crappy thing to do.
Yeah, but see, the male best friend is going to give them everything that they want, and all they're going to do...
Isn't that a simp?
No, he's not necessarily simping. He's just being patient. He's just waiting. It's like, I know that you're a great girl. You need to know that I'm a great dude. Now, if you really didn't think I was a great dude, you would have broke ties a long time ago.
You telling me right now that this dude's really gunning for second place? Because that's what he's
doing.
No,
he's not gunning for second place.
He's just
he wasn't the first option.
No. But let me rephrase that. He was the first option.
So
why do you think he's the best friend?
Okay, but then why'd you date another guy?
Because what they want to do is like, well, I'm gonna try to keep I want to make up time because the physical attraction may not be the physical attraction may not be ideal because she may have this lofty thing of, I want a guy who's 6'4", 220 with muscles. Her best friend may be 5'10", a mop head, and like maybe maybe overweight or super slim or whatever it may be.
20 stones.
Right, but the reason why I say that is because it may not be in her ideal head. But here's the thing. It's not the fact that she doesn't think that she's cute. Because if you really came down to it, what is she trying to do? She's trying to pawn him off to one of his other girls.
Listen, see, you can't do comparison either. Especially with
right, but the guy knows that she wants her, and the girl is tagging him off because the girl wants the attention. She wants attention.
The glorification.
And a lot of girls, they get so gassed up on the attention. The only difference between the male best friends now and not is the fact that you have a social media platform that will give you all the male attention that you need. So now your roster doesn't have to be that one dude who's sitting next to you who live like 2 doors away from your house. Now your friend could be way out in Atlanta, but you're messaging him online on social media and just be like, well, this is what's going on in my relationship, and tell him all the stuff. And you're just waiting for that dude to be like, well, I can come over and come hang out with you. You're just waiting for it. Girls wait for that opportunity. Why? Because they dry off of that attention.
But see, sometimes they can go bad too because, like Cam said, sometimes they can set up those male friends to their friends, and then down the line, their friends fell for her. Yeah, because he was there.
Yeah, no, they fall, and here's what happened. And then, I've seen the situation where there's a male best friend that the girl shot off to one of her girls. They decide to hit it off. And then all of a sudden the other girl gets jealous because they're not talking, like the friend and they're not talking anymore. And then what happens? Well, I really liked you like that, but you decided to be with her. You didn't tell me that you liked me, and we were sitting here the whole time. I knew you liked me before you even said it. Why you wait 3 years later? Now because I'm not giving my attention to your friend, now you want to come talk to me? But you see how that works?
Situations because it's like now you see me with somebody else because they didn't mean no run person.
Right.
Even if we both had a agreement that we were just on friends, but I still watch. Still something was there.
This is why it's tricky to have really tight friends who are of the opposite sex. Because obviously, if anything goes sideways in your life, or let's say something goes really good, you're going to connect with them first. That's why you can't have a opposite sex best friend and somebody you're dating. If that's the case, if you think that she is so good enough to be your best friend, then you should have just picked her to just be your girlfriend. If you think that dude who you're sitting with, ladies, is cool enough to be your male best friend, then you need to be cool enough to say, look, I'm just going to just go ahead and date him and see what it looks like for real. Why? Because you either gotta go with it or cut it off. Because if you don't cut it off, all that's going to do is pose problems. All it does. Anyway, you gotta get up out of here. And Rams are getting their butts kicked right now. Not by much.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Well, damn.
Not by much. It's 6-6. It's sorry.
6-10. Go ahead.
You tell that
shout out to our dog Michael, who is a diehard Rams fan, and hopefully they lose. I don't want to hear your mouth tomorrow when I get to work. Anyway, final thoughts. Get your thoughts out the way.
I really have no final thoughts, but I just say this: just be careful out there, guys. With the ISIS situation and stuff like that. Be mindful that they still have a badge and stuff like that, and try not to do anything, not saying horrific, just try not to put yourself in a situation where it may cost you your life. Just be careful out there, guys.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining us today again on the PVC Podcast. Thank you for listening to our ramblings and our topics and our words. Well, we do hope you found value in what we had to say. We do hope you enjoyed what we had to say. If you didn't, still leave a like. It doesn't cost you anything. And make sure to tell everyone you know about us. Friends, enemies, family, even your dog.
So what's the statement? You don't have
to like
the page to like the page.
Anyway, truly though, thank you for spending your time with us. Your time is precious, and any time spent with us, we hope it's time spent with us. As always, before we bow out, Cameron, tell the people.
You know how we do. First and foremost, shout out to all of our subscribers who've been rocking along with us. We appreciate each and every one of you first and foremost.
142.
Yep. 142 and counting. We're on the road to 150, of course. So tell your mamas about us and all that good stuff. Tell your best friends about us apparently because y'all got them in the tuck. So tell your best friends to subscribe too. So they probably sitting next to you watching the feed anyway.
So tell your wife, tell your girlfriend.
Exactly. Outside of that, like we always do, shout out to all of our affiliates, of course, World Heat Entertainment. Shout out to Jason Lang and the crew, of course. Shout out to Dirty Joe and everything's going on with him. Z, we'll see you soon, of course. Outside of that, we'll be outside of next week. We got a couple of things we got spinning right now. We got some projects we're working on for the movie project. We're going to be sitting down with, part of the movie series for the Hilltop Brawl. We're going to be sitting down with pieces of the crew for that. So be on the lookout for that, of course. Outside of that, we appreciate each and every one of y'all, rocking along. We got a lot more content. We're going to be outside. We're going to probably be in a different venue. I got something in mind. So if we have time, we may take a little bit of a road trip. This man want to go to the bowl place, but we may go out to, was that Whittier? No, not Whittier. Was that El Monte? We may take a road trip out to El Monte.
Where El meets Monty.
Well, El meets the Monty. Not the full Monty, but the Monty. Not the full Monty. We may pull up out there because I definitely want to check that out. There's some other places we want to get out to get to the road show, so we may do that next week. But outside of that, for my man Paul, for my man Vic, my name is Cam, aka Nerd Boy Fresh. Like always, it is God above everything. Till next time, family, we'll do this again soon.
Much love and respect.
Salute.